live here from Clayfield, a suburb in the city of Brisbane, Queensland, Australia, which has a population of 10,555 people as of 2016. We thought we would finally get to Crefeld when we found a magic carpet around here, but they couldn't understand our voice, so they brought us here instead. We are here today concluding the HomeStory Cup replay cast with the final couple of matches here with Group C. I am, of course, your host, Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today is La Cucaracha, pensé que habías dijo que limpieste aquí. Light _ VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? Yes, we are back here with our final day of covering HomeStory Cup. It's been a long couple of weeks. We've been casting every single group, and we are here to finish up Group C. We've already done A, B, and D as well. And honestly, this is pretty well timed because today we finish HomeStory Cup, and in like a week, in a number of days, I am Katowice. It's upon us, buddy. Yeah. It's upon us.
Just about a week, and then we're finally done with these group of maps.
Yes,
we can finally embrace the future.
Oh. Yeah, be fearful, Yaku.
Oh no.
I don't know if you've touched the new map pool yet, Yaku, but it is, you know, it's refreshing. It's always refreshing to get a new map pool, but there are definitely thoughts out there by some Terran players, by Asher specifically. Oh my god, about the new maps.
Yeah. Well, I'll have you know, I played 4 games as Terran in the new map pool.
Oh.
So I'm pretty sure I know everything.
Yeah, you're an expert, Papi. You're ready to go. Oh my.
I won the maps twice as well, so I'm well versed in all 7 of them.
Yo. Beautiful, Papi. Beautiful. Oh god. But yeah, it's great to have you again, Yaku, here for the final day of HomeStory Cup. What are we going to do after this? We have a couple of plans as well. We'll get into it in a little bit more detail later on. But especially because weekly tournaments haven't come back yet, we have kind of thrown around the idea of bringing back the podcast. Bringing it back.
Yeah! In a new refurbished kind of method. We got a whole new graphic coming in here. Actually, I don't know about that one.
Yes, yeah, make it up, Papi. Make it up.
I'll make it. I'll make the new graphic, even if Kuro says that we're gonna use the old one. I'm gonna make a new one, and then I'm gonna record it from my end, and I'll put the true definitive edition. The people have to know.
The director's cut, Papi. The Yaku
director's cut.
Yeah. Oh, you're an animal. Oh god. But yeah, we have been throwing around
the studio screwed me.
They got rid of my vision. Clearly it was a good one. They didn't believe in me, Papi. Release the Yaku cut. God. Oh boy.
Yep.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves with what is coming in the future, we still have these things here, these matches before us, a little bit in the past. And yes. Our first matchup of the day, I should be fixing this on the graphic, there we go, is going to be a ZvP.
Indeed. What we're kind of used to here on our day 2 replay casts.
True. Yeah, you're not wrong. But what I will say is that, Yaku, today I have for you some Terran players, right? We can sink our teeth into some Terrans at some point. It's not just Zergs. It's not just ZVZs. Thank God.
Yeah. Whoa.
Not again.
Yeah, we actually got a PvP going on later.
Oh, true. But when you are ready, Yaku,
yes.
count us in.
In 3, 2, 1. Unpause. We are going to be kicking off today with our best of 2 group stage replay cast here in the bottom right hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, over here in the bottom right hand corner, where we have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Taiwan, currently teamless, though at the time representing Onsite Gaming, OSG. We have Rex.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have his opponents. We have the American Protoss player representing License to Kill, LTK. It is Nina.
Way back in the good old days of like 2 months ago.
Of December. This was this. To be fair, you know, we are out of November. That was DreamHack Atlanta, if you recall. HomeStory Cup was less than a month ago, so you know it hasn't been that long.
We're in February now.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. Calm down, Poppy. Calm down, okay?
Time doesn't. It's not that far in the future.
Yeah, you know what? There are people
I'm
listening to
so
this where it's actually really March right now, maybe even April when the vote comes out.
All our viewers over there in New Zealand, yeah.
True.
Yeah, way in the future.
Oh god, but I'm really excited to cast these players. We got to feature them yesterday, and I don't know if you were able to tune into any of it, but Rex had a really wild ZvP against Skillis. Not yesterday, sorry, 2 days ago.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I didn't quite get to see it, but that bodes pretty well for him, if I do say so myself. He's got quite a lot of Protoss opponents up ahead of him, and you know, even if you can just go 1-1 against most of them, you have a decent shot, I think, of getting into the playoffs.
Definitely. You know, you gotta bring your A game here in these best of twos. Take at least one game from your opponents, and you do have a good shot at going into the playoffs. For the time being, everything is looking quite standard though, which again, I'm a little bit surprised of. Rex did just go for a hatch gas pool, nothing hyper aggressive yet. And I say that because again, against Skillis, he did go for quite a number of all-ins and quite a number of aggressive plays.
Well, we'll see if that's reserved solely for the EU Protoss players, or you know, maybe he is just trying to suss out what Nina is going for. Nina as well, known for being a very tricky player in the matchup.
Oh, definitely. Nina is not standard whatsoever. We just see her opening up with a Stargate, but again, the last thing I expect from Nina is meta PvZ. She has been known to flirt with Robo openers, with Colossus drops, with Disruptor drop openers as well. But in recent months, I haven't seen too much from her. You know, Battle of the Americas is kind of on hiatus, or it's been gone for a long time, so I haven't been able to cast Nina on a weekly basis like we usually have in years past.
Whenever I think of Nina, the first thing that comes to mind for some reason is just Phoenix play.
yeah, makes sense. You know, are you predicting Phoenixes? Are you predicting Sky Toss, Bob?
I'm gonna predict it at least once in today's broadcast. You'll believe we have another match of Nina, or maybe two of her, coming down later on.
Yeah, that is true. We'll be getting some more Nina action later on. For the time being, we do have an Oracle first from Nina. We have a second Oracle on the way. Third Nexus is thrown down at a time that we would expect. Decent surround here, but Rex isn't able to get any kind of aggression on these Adepts here across the map. So Nina's so far quite solid.
Yeah, quite solid, and surprisingly playing quite standard. I stand corrected, as that is a third Oracle coming down.
Oh, yo, this is kind of falling out of fashion. Like, we haven't seen the hero triple Oracle opener in a very long in months, Poppy, in months. So it's really cool to see it being brought out here by Nina, as she is actually, going to be transitioning into a Gateway Army from here.
Yeah, triple Oracle into Swarm Toss. Again, the more meta build would be to double Oracle into that and get a couple of Stalkers out, but I'm excited now. I want to see what Nina can really pull off of this, if this is going to be a much more classic style of Swarm Toss with all sorts of Zealots coming down, perhaps.
Yeah, we'll see what the plan is. For the time being, the two Adepts across the map, they did get 6 drone kills. They took a couple of hits to the face, but they both survived, so not too bad damage whatsoever by Nina. Her third Oracle is back at home to protect that third Nexus, and we have Blink on the way. What's a little bit interesting is that Nina, she barely escapes with her Oracle in the main. Nina didn't throw down a Forge. Typically, we do have a Forge with this, so we can get into +1 and start working on upgrades for your Gateway units.
Yeah, it's not like she doesn't really have the money for it, but I guess she does want to prioritize getting units out as quick as possible. I guess that is one downside of going for triple oracles is, you've invested a lot into units that are energy based.
Yeah, it's a lot of gas being invested into these oracles, and to me, the lack of the forge tells me that Nina doesn't really intend for the game to go on much longer. She hasn't thrown down a proxy gateway or anything like that, but it does feel like there's a lot more pressure on her to deal damage with this push.
And she's looking to deal that damage right here, right now. Rex, I mean, he doesn't have that many units out right now, but he's got plenty of queens that he's consolidating together, and here come the lings. Remember, Nina doesn't have blink yet. She can't blink these stalkers out! And 2 oracles get picked off on top of that. This push, if it was meant to do damage, has completely and utterly failed.
Yeah, exactly. If the oracles had survived, then I would say that maybe Nina could stick around a little bit longer and keep pushing, but with the death of those oracles, I don't really see her threatening that hatchery any longer. And now Nina's transitioning. We have a Templar Archives on the way. Finally, we have that forge. But again, this feels like it feels like Nina's being forced into doing this, and this isn't really what she wanted to do initially.
Yeah. Yeah, now that I think about it, I mean, I'm still at a little bit of a loss. I'm trying to piece together what the game plan was initially here for Nina, pushing out at that timing without Blink ready yet.
Yeah, just a little
I guess
bit of
maybe she was just trying to snipe a base, maybe?
Yeah, I think she was just trying to apply some light pressure, just didn't want to overcommit or anything, and then Rex just dove on her. The problem is that he was able to get a surround on those stalkers because of those 2 oracles going down. Meanwhile, Rex goes for a Ling run by, does get a cancel on the 4th base of Nina, and that is brutal. Her 4th is that much more delayed, and again, because of the stalker losses earlier, she has lost map control.
Very much so. I'm starting to see Rex take advantage of that fact, going for a 5th base, just spreading creep wherever he can.
Oh yes, just creeping, spread all over the place. He's working into Hydras. The Madman is going Ling Bane Hydra, which you don't see too often against Blink Stalkers, but they can do well. The reason why you don't see it too often is exactly what Nina's doing. Nina is working on Storm, and Storm, it's going to be good against everything that Rex has.
Pretty much. I mean, every single unit Rex is coming out right now are going to be light units. The only thing that will shred through them even quicker than Storms would be a mass ton of Glaive Adepts. But again, you don't need those if you're going Storm and Archons like this.
Yeah, exactly. So Nina has a good army composition, but we'll see if she's going to be in position and if she has enough of an army as well. For the time being, she's trying to push back the forces of Rex, but she has to be careful not to be caught out here. Rex, he's shocking around looking for some key units with his Ling Hydra.
Yeah, the last thing Nina wants to do right now is overextend or provide a bit of an opening to Rex like this.
Oh, yeah, she's out of position. The Bailings have rolling on in.
And they will connect with a couple of probes. Very nice blink back to kind of body block a little bit for those Banelings. Nina hasn't taken that much damage, and most of our high-tech units are still alive. I was very worried about these High Templar when they were split against the rest of the army.
Yeah, like Nina was out of position completely, let's be honest. Like the High Templar would know where they needed to be, but there was no punish for it. Every High Templar was kept alive. Meanwhile, Rex, he's going for a little bit of multi-pronged harassment. He heads over towards the natural waste. At the same time, Bailings are rolling in towards the 4th.
They are, but a very quick reaction from Nina will mean that only 2 probes and a couple of pylons go down. Meanwhile, over towards the natural base, that is one of the juiciest stasis wards I think I've ever seen. Basically, the entire Ling buffer got caught in that and entirely halted the momentum. The momentum that Rex had.
Exactly, and just like that, the Storms connect with the Lings and the Bailings as well. That was so many Bailings going down for free, essentially. And now Nina is taking a lead in the supply, but more Bailings are rolling on in, directly on top of those Zealots.
Yeah, on the one hand, they were only Zealots. On the other hand, those were Zealots. They are your main buffer unit, and yeah, the main unit that you want to connect with the army of Zerg. All of a sudden, I feel like control of the game has switched from Rex to Nina back into Rex.
Oh, definitely. The way this ebbs and flows, I feel like a lot of this is hinging on the Storms, to be fair. We have 2 High Templar with full energy right now. We don't have a lot of support. We don't have a lot of buffer. The High Templar, no!
High Templar will get taken out by those Banelings. And those were high energy Templar too. Oh no.
Hey, there were like 4 or 5 storms in those High Templar, and now that they're gone, Nina has been in the middle of transitioning into Sky Toss, but without those High Templar, she's quite vulnerable. But does Rex have enough to punish her? Does he have enough to break any of these bases?
Well, not quite yet, but an Infestation Pit did just finish up for Rex. He can't afford to get a couple of... He can't afford to transition to Hive and get a couple of Vipers later down the line, but that will take time. Nina has revealed the carrier, and now Rex is well aware of what he's dealing with.
Yeah, exactly. Carriers had been revealed, but it's only a single carrier right now. It's not going to be enough. The Ling Hydra keeps on pushing on forward. Do you have a decent storm zoning away those High Templar? But we are running out of storms.
We really are. This may not look like a lot of Hydras, but it's just enough to just keep sniping the interceptors and keep those carriers at bay. A very clutch warp in from Nina with these Zealots will be able to deflect these forces. And maybe this will give Nina enough breathing room to really start fighting back.
Yeah, I mean, Rex, his drone count is looking pretty good. You know, he's got 84 workers. It's what we expect. But Rex, if you can see, he's still stuck on Ling Bane Hydra. He's refusing to transition into Corruptors, which means he has to deal with Nina's army now before she hits critical mass of carriers. And right now she only has 2, and she went pretty deep onto creep. Uh-oh.
Yeah, Rex can definitely deal with this army, or at least the carriers, with the amount of Hydras he's got. One carrier does go down into hull damage range, but Nina thankfully was retreating, so she doesn't take too much damage on this army.
Yeah, just interceptors going down, really. The High Templar are just gathering that energy right now, just slowly getting more and more availability for that storm. We do see Rex backing off. He's trying to re-max, but I do worry that he's running out of time. He's running out of steam a little bit. He's got maybe one solid fight in him. After that, he needs something more.
Yeah, Hive is about halfway done for Rex, and he needed a Hive 30 seconds or so ago. Right now, he should already be having a couple of Vipers out.
He really should. And right now he's trying to buy some time. He goes for another Bailing run by, and he gets a couple of workers. Not too bad. Nina's a little bit out of position. She's clearing out creep here on the right-hand side. Rex is moving in towards the left, but no, he doesn't quite go for the base. It is still going to be able to stand strong. And that carrier count, it's getting pretty high.
Yeah! It really is. There are also plenty of High Templar, which, like you said, were just gathering storm while this is going on. A lot of Banelings have started gathering, and they connect with every single High Templar. But is the carrier count good enough right now for Nina? It looks like it is, especially because Rex split off his forces. His Hydras are dying at the third base location.
Yeah, I mean, things went well and poorly for both players there. Nina lost every High Templar without a single storm, but there are just too many carriers. GG gets called, and Nina takes the first game.
I love how you described that, Light. Things went amazingly, but also very poorly for both of our players there, because, man, that's a final engagement. I can't help but think if Rex had all his Hydras together, it would have been tough, but maybe he could have taken the fight after the High Templar went down.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think that he even expected every single High Templar to go down without a single storm. Like, oh my god. And after that had happened, if he did have all of his Hydras together, maybe a couple of Queens from all the bases as well, he would have been able to hold. It would have been close. So there were 5 carriers, and 5 carriers is pretty insane. Like, as we saw, Nina was getting to the point where she was just out DPSing and killing those Hydras towards the end. Yeah, GG. Really scrappy game.
It really, really was. The wheels just turned for, was grabbed by both players over and over and over again.
Pretty much. And with that, we're going to be getting ready for game number 2. As a reminder, of course, this is a best of 2, so only 2 games for each series. It does make things a little bit shorter, and it does make every game matter that much more as well, to try to get that tied up series, to try and get a decent score coming into the playoffs.
Well, most importantly though, like, it does mean that calculating the rankings is much, much easier.
There you go. There you
You
go.
only got to do one math. You don't got to do two. I appreciate it, Take.
You got to count less numbers. You know, it's great.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You got one and you got two. That's it.
Yeah,
Well, I guess technically there's also zero, but
there is no.
you don't have three.
Yeah.
Wait, but there's never any three in best of threes anyway.
There can be a 3. Oh, wait, no, I
Can
guess
there?
not. There can be a third game. That's what I was trying to say.
But then you got a minus.
Uh-huh.
Here you only got a plus. Math.
Speaking of math, Yaku, are you ready to count us in?
Oh, I am,
Oh.
actually.
Go for it.
I didn't think I would be. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Unpause. And here we have it. Going to be continuing our series now on Tropical Sacrifice. Where we're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Taiwan. Currently teamless, but at the time, representing On-Site Gaming, OSG, we have Rex.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Tropical Sacrifice, we have the American Protoss player currently leading this series 1-0, representing License to Kill LTK. It is Nina.
I gotta tell you, like, On-Site Gaming, they made 2 announcements today. One of them was pretty surprising, but I gotta tell you, the more surprising one was the fact that Rex had actually left.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, to be honest. It's a little bit sad and a little bit disappointing, just because he's a great player. I understand that that he isn't necessarily the most high-profile player, but he has been like improving and he's been getting a lot of really good results, especially in 2022. So I have to wonder if that was a decision made by Rex or like how things were decided there. Yeah, I'm a little bit sad that he was let go.
Yeah. As am I. I feel like Rex was kind of there from the start. I mean, he was the original Zerg player on-site gaming,
Yeah.
getting picked up very shortly after Maru, but it does sound like he's got a couple of plans ahead of him, so, you know, be interesting to see what those are.
Definitely. We always wish the best here to our boy Rex, and likewise, we wish him the best in this game. You know, I hope for some tied-up series. I want to see a back and forth, and to be fair, Game 1 was very back and forth. It was very close, very scrappy. So it's a little bit hard to predict how things are going to progress here. But for the most part, I'm actually surprised by how Nina played, how relatively standard she ended up playing, and defensive as well.
Yeah, well, she definitely added her own flair to things, but it was some of the most standard play I've seen from Nina in months.
Yeah, and that's just not really what I expect from Nina, so we'll see if she continues with this trend. We do see once again another Stargate opener. Talking about game number 1 a little bit, Nina's opener did kind of fall on its face. If you remember, she hit a bit of an anti-timing with before Blink, and she kind of gave up a bunch of map control, and things were well in Rex's hands, at least in the early to mid game. So Nina has to tighten things up here in game 2.
Yeah, I guess looking back, it was kind of an interesting series in the sense that it looked like neither player really wanted to get into the late game. You know, Nina pushed out early with her oracles and with her stalkers just to try to put Rex at enough of a deficit that she could take him out in the follow-up push. Rex, meanwhile, stayed on Linkbane Hydra for a very long time. You know, he had the Infestation Pit for a while, but yeah, it took him a while to transition to Hive and to get tech from there.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where even though Rex was killing High Templar whenever he could, and he was killing a surprising amount of High Templar, before that happened, there were moments where he was losing far too many Banelings and far too many Hydras, and all of that is really gas intensive, and Rex was running out of steam. You know, when you go Linkbane Hydra, you are straight up on a timer, at least unless you get Hive and unless you get Vipers. But you said it yourself, like the Vipers and the Hive tech was very late.
Very much so. It looked like Rex thought he could end the game at that mid game or that tier 2 of tech, but alas, was not the case.
Exactly. So we'll see how he himself is able to adapt as well. For the time being, everything is quite normal. Hatch gas pool from Rex. We've got a third base. He's going for an Evo chamber. This should be for +1 melee. He did a very similar opener in game number 1. Again, you prioritize your melee upgrades so you can go for those baneling run-bys. But we saw, for the most part, Nina was doing a great job at keeping up and reacting to the baneling run-bys.
That she was, and something else she did really well in the last game and is continuing to do so this time. Oracle harass. I didn't quite count the number of drones she killed in game number 1, but it was at least 10. And now she gets 6 without even flinching.
Yeah, 6 kills. Not too bad here with the double Oracle. We have a third Oracle coming out as well, just shirking around the third base location. A bit of a Ling run by here from Rex to try and see whatever damage he can get done, but he runs into the army. He won't be able to really deny that third, and there is that +1 melee on the way for Rex. So once again, he wants to go for a very similar composition to game 1.
Yeah, Lings and Banes, but we'll see if he commits to the Hydras this time. Plus on melee, I mean, it's really good. It's really versatile for ZvP, I think. Just, you can use them to go harass and try to get damage like you were saying, or if your opponent's being a little bit aggressive, most likely with Stalkers, that +1 is going to do a lot against them.
Oh, and you know what? Rex, he is not droning, by the way. We have a lot of Lings in production right now, and if Nina isn't too careful, this mass Ling will swallow up our army and go for a counterattack. These Oracles are going to stop that from happening, but the Queens are target firing. Rex is trying to focus them down.
And one of them does go down. The other two are very, very low on energy.
Yeah,
Rex is going to be able to clean this up, but he is not done there.
Yeah, exactly. Every single Stalker is going to be going down. We have 20 more Lings in production, by the way. Rex wants to just end the game now before things really get going. The Oracles are running out of energy. We do have a shield battery, but only one.
Yeah, only one at this third base location. Nina has sort of realized what's coming her way, though. She is setting up a bit of a secondary wall, if need be, over in her natural base. But right now she's confident enough, or she's feeling confident enough, that she wants to fight at the third base, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this, because Rex, he still made another wave of 20 more Lings, and now he's droning, so it looks like he's realized that he can't really break the defensive position, but he invested so much into these Lings, and for these Lings not to get any damage, like, these could have been drones. Rex could just be in a better position. But maybe I'm speaking too soon. We'll see if he can find some more damage. He picks up a couple of units here and there, and he's diving on top of these gateway units.
Yeah, but the battery overcharge is going to put a stop to that aggression here, coming out from Rex.
Yeah, exactly. So these Lings, I mean, they posture, they threaten, but they are being forced back. Meanwhile, Rex is adapting. He's throwing down a Hydroden, which is what we saw in the last game, but he's also throwing down his Infestation Pit at the same time. Yeah,
much quicker transition this time coming out from Rex. It looks like he is going for the same Hydra Ling Bane competition to start things off, but he's keeping his options open, not just when it comes to his tech, but also when it comes to these Lings. I mean, sure, it was a very heavy investment that hasn't really paid for itself just yet, but there are still quite a number of possibilities Rex can get done.
Definitely, and as you say that, we do have a massive Ling run by towards the south to try and deny this this Nexus. Fortunately, it's not going to be the case. Nina is in position, and there is that Hive. So Rex is taking this in a very different approach. He's going straight for the Hive. He's also got a Lurker Den on the way.
Times out just about perfectly here. Yeah, he can just start getting Lurker upgrades the minute that Hive finishes. And that's actually going to be really good against the unit composition of Nina here. She has charge, I believe. No, not quite yet. But she is getting a ton of Zealots. She is also getting a lot of High Templar and Archons. Here's the thing that's the wild card, though. That Fleet Beacon. Lurkers are going to be effective for a pretty limited amount of time here.
Yeah, we were talking about the window earlier, and I feel like I would favor Lingbane Hydra Viper right now, but if Rex invests too early into these Lurkers, then as you said, there is a very small window where they can deal damage before the carriers come out, and the carriers are going to be on the way soon. +1 air attack is already in production as well. Rex is setting up a bunch of run-bys though, but I don't know if they're going to really deal too much damage. Oh.
Yeah, they fall face first into these Archons, which is a lot more painful than falling face flat on the ground. I can tell you from experience.
It's true. Archons, they do hit harder than the ground, confirmed. As we just have a second Stargate on the way as well to get into those carriers. We're not there yet, but there we go. The first carrier is now on the way. Meanwhile, 3 lurkers are being produced, so Rex can still hit that timing. He can still try to force his way either into one of these fresh bases or maybe even straight up into the natural and try and break Nina before the Sky Toss.
Yeah, he has a decent idea of where the main army is positioned, thanks to this creep spread. And he's just trying to look for a bit of an opening here.
Yeah, speaking of an opening, here we go. The Ling Bane is rolling on in towards the triangular third. Storms are going to be connecting. Ooh, even the High Templar survived, turning into an Archon.
Yeah, and the Archon survived as well, despite being completely surrounded. That's really the power of Storm. Nina only losing Zealots there.
Very efficient trades from Nina. Meanwhile, the lurkers have revealed themselves. That's a lot of lurkers, but we got to make use of them sooner rather than later. Already, some of these lurkers are being focused down. There's not a lot of buffer here for them.
Yeah, Rex is kind of forced to fight in a position he does not want to fight in right now. His Lings are getting decent surrounds, but they're dying much faster than they can do any damage thanks to these storms. And now the carrier has arrived. How does Rex respond?
The carriers have arrived, but the High Templar all died. Only 3 just got warped in, and the lurkers are slow pushing forward. But there's not much that shoots up. It's only the Queens.
Yeah, and they are doing a pretty good job of dealing with the interceptors, but these Archons are getting a lot of shots in. Battery overcharge did get popped, and Archons, I mean, eventually they're going to die to the lurkers, but beforehand, they can soak up quite a bit of damage. Very nice target firing from Nina as well, just trying to take out as many Queens as she can with her units.
Oh, exactly. And behind this, Rex is making 12 Hydras. They are rushing across the map. Again, there is this window before critical mass of carriers where Rex can deal damage and try to end the game. This base is going to be going down. The problem is that Rex needs more than just this base. He's got to keep on going. He has to go for the throat.
He really does. Best case scenario for Rex right now is he's just able to take out the low number of carriers with his Hydras. And, you know, looking at it mathematically, he should have enough Hydras to deal with the carriers, but he has to be so careful about Storms and Archons.
He really does, and pushing up this ramp is going to be nigh impossible, and Rex, he backs off as well. He needs to rotate back around. Nina does have another 4th base towards the north. She even has a 5th. I didn't even notice that she expanded towards the bottom right-hand side of the map as well. Oh my god.
Well, neither did I, and neither did Rex. Right now, Rex is probably, I mean, yeah, Rex knows that he has to do a little bit more damage, but I don't think he realizes just how much more he has to deal. Very good stasis ward at this other 4th location as well.
That stasis may just be the game-winning stasis for Nina. Half the Hydras are gone, and now just like that, Nina, she can take this fight.
Yeah, the lurkers are being dealt with by the carriers. Okay, the detection is gone, but there's only 1 lurker left. So the chargelets, they're getting right on top of the rest of the Hydras, and now the other half of the Hydras should be falling. 1 carrier will not go down? God damn!
Nothing dies. We do have 1 hold position lurker. Sorry, not hold position, just regular lurker, and it is going to be able to chip away at these High Templar. We do see Rex rushing in towards a triangular 3rd base. He's looking to try and get a little bit more damage with his units, but this is a very expensive loss for Rex.
Yeah, very similar to the game number 1. All of the High Templar went down, which was a great pickoff for Rex. But the Hydras, because it was split off from the rest of the army, also just went down without putting up much of a fight.
Yeah, and looking at Rex's vision, yeah, he still hasn't seen that 5th base from Nina. Whenever she wants to, she can try and saturate. She just took an amazing fight. She has a supply lead, and we talked about it in the previous game, and it still applies here. When you go Hydra, Lurker, Ling Bane, you are on a timer, and it feels like the timer has run out. Nina has hit critical mass of carriers.
Just like so. And again, even though Rex did transition to Hive Tech much quicker this game, he selected his tech poorly.
And
Lurkers aren't really going to deal with this compared to Vipers.
I mean, Lurkers are still okay, but you know, Hydra Lurker Viper is the thing for a reason, and there were just no Vipers, period, here. Feels bad, man. Oh, the storms are insane. There is detection with this army, and Nina, she can just push on through.
Yeah. And she can just rally her Stargates across the map and not do anything else from there.
Yeah, pretty much, as Nina is finally saturating her new fresh base towards the south. She takes down the hatchery, and there are only a handful of Hydras remaining. Look at the units lost tab. Not a single carrier has died this game, and I doubt any will.
325 Lings went down along with 60 Hydras. Yeah, that's... Oof.
It's a lot of gas. It's a lot of
gas.
That's a lot of minerals. It's a lot of everything.
It's a lot of death.
Oh boy, exactly. And from here, can a Rex do anything? I didn't even notice, but Hydra speed only just now finished as well. I mean, that's a little bit smudge.
Yeah, especially on a map like Tropical Sacrifice. I mean, to be fair, the creep spread was good enough that the Hydras were able to reinforce very, very quickly, but you know, they also weren't able to split up against the storms as effectively as they could have.
You're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. And now we have the final stand here with Rex's last handful of Hydras. He wants to at least kill one of the carriers, but it's just not gonna happen.
Not at all, and that is one hell of a frame to end that game on. Look at all those drones caught up in the storm. My God, GG. Nina takes that series 2-0. Wow.
Gee,
wow, actually.
I had to look away at that final scene of the storm on all those drones. Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
Feels very bad, but also feels really good. GG, well played by Nina here. If you told me that Nina and Rex were gonna go 1-1, I probably would have believed it. If you told me that Rex was gonna 2-0 Nina, it would have been a little bit more difficult, but I would have believed it as well. Nowhere in my mind I think Nina would 2-0 Rex.
I'm with you there. I'm a little bit shocked by this result for Nina to 2-0 Rex. Like, Rex has been doing really well. If you remember, it was a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago now, he even took games off of Hero during ESL Open Cup Asia. Like, Rex has been on fire recently, and for him to be taken out by Nina in such a fashion is pretty crazy.
Well, it's one of those things, right, where Rex was taking games off of Hero. He was honing himself against the Hero style. He was kind of developing a way to deal with that Hero style in all those ESL Open Cups. Nina comes in and says, I don't have to play that way. I can do whatever I want. I'm an adult.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the thing, right? You're not wrong. When it comes to how Hero plays, especially when we talk about going into Forge on +1 Blink Stalkers, he is very adamant about not transitioning into Sky Toss. He stays on Ground Toss, and he does refine his army, but in a bit of a different way. He isn't the kind of player to just turtle up and go into carriers, and that's why, to be fair, he has a lot of fans, and that's why a lot of people enjoy watching him, because he has a more dynamic playstyle. But Nina's like, yo, you know, she's like, you know, double Stargate carrier, but it's still good. Like, I'll just do that.
Yeah. These other Protoss players, they don't know what they're talking about. It's like, Sky Toss is dead? Nah, you're dead.
You're dead, Poppy. Get out of here. Go back to Taiwan. So GG, congratulations to Nina, a very strong performance. Rex, again, unfortunately wasn't able to keep up or refuse to deal with those carriers, refused to try and transition to a late game. He wanted to end the game early every single time, and wasn't able to do so.
Yeah. And unfortunately not. And I really do think that it would have worked on other styles of against other styles of PvZ. You know, it does definitely look like something that Rex developed specifically to force the Protoss players in that kind of mid-game stage and to be able to beat Protoss in the mid game, but unfortunately for him, yeah, Nina just doesn't play by the rules.
Yes, she was forged in the flames of NA, and over in NA, things are done a little bit differently. So, GG, well played. Speaking of NA, we are going to be getting ready for our second series, and our second series also features an American player.